So for doing that bootstrapping, whatever we have done yesterday, we have used a knife command, right? Yeah, knife bootstrap, right? And then some command line arguments based out of it. Okay, so how many of you have tried it? Any issues in that? Try చేయని వాళ్ళు, that's your career. I'm not worried about you. Yeah, okay. Now let us assume that I'll be discussing about this conceptually, but for me to implement that, it might take some more time because might need to more. So I have 100 machines. Doing knife bootstrap on 100 machines, is it a sensible option? All right. So bootstrap is basically used when we have some few number of machines, but when we have more, we try to do with other options, right? So as on today we are starting, so that's why I'm using the bootstrap command, but going forward we'll not use this bootstrap. There are many other ways to achieve it. So for example, if you are in Azure by any chance, right, in Azure there is an extension. The moment you install that VM extension, you will get the Chef agent, so there is no need for you to externally bootstrap, right? Okay, but there is one thing which is important in this bootstrap. So does everyone understand private public key cryptography, or is there anyone who doesn't understand it? Do you want me to tell about it? Because we might need to know or understand that very much, because that's how chefs speaks with each other. Okay, I'll speak about it. Yeah, fine then. So this is what we were we have downloaded yesterday, right? Yeah, okay. Now we have a server, right? And then we have workstation, and we are not using any passwords. Yes, to communicate between them, are we using any kind of passwords from workstation to server? No. The same thing with node, right? So when I have a node speaks with server, and are there any passwords around? No. Then how can I ensure that the right communication is happening with the node? Yes or no? Yeah. In the case of other tools, generally we enter username and password and it tries to authenticate. But how does that authentication happen in Chef server? Okay. So remember you downloaded a starter kit? Yes. So whenever you download a starter kit, what happens is a key is generated. What is a key? Okay, you will have two kinds of keys. One is called as private key, and the other one is called as public key. Basically, it is used in encryption and also for authentication. Okay, so encryption works like this. Let us assume that you want to send a message called as hi, and no one wants to, and you want to make sure that no one understands apart from you and the receiver. So what you do is you try to take his public key and encrypt this message with his public key, and the only person who can decrypt this message is who has a private key. So the message will be decrypted by private key. In the other way around, if I encrypt with private key, I'll be able to only decrypt with my public key. So basically this you can think of a door where you have two ways or two keys. If you lock with one key, you cannot unlock with the same key. You have to unlock with the other key. If that is the mechanism of your home security system, exactly that is what a private and a public key cryptography. Now, whenever you download a starter kit, what happens is a new key value pair is generated, right? So Chef server will have a public key and you will have a private key. And to be more specific, that private key is This. Whenever you download the chef, if you go and download the chef starter kit again, this key changes. So that's the reason yesterday I said that don't download chef starter key again and again, because it might, you might lose your connections. Am I clear? Yes. Okay. Now basically I have a private key and chef server is having my public key, and whenever I am sending any messages to the chef server, I am authenticated because it has my public key, right? If I change anything in that key, nothing works, right? Because it is a key based exchange mechanism. Similarly, what happens is whenever you are bootstrapping, a key is created based out of the same key, right? But it is not the same key. Based out of this key, which is ensured for communication between node and so that's why whenever you download the starter kit, everything messes up. So in the organization, it is not a right idea to always download the starter kit. So what we do generally while operating Chef is we download the starter kit, right? And people can work on Chef without communicating with server. That's the ideal dev environment. Once they think everything is working, they'll come to the server or they'll come to a machine where you have the starter kit and then they will upload it. That's the basic reason around it. Okay. So keys are very important. Even if you have not understood the whole story, that's fine, because there are many things which you need to understand further. When node is speaking with your server, when you are speaking, workstation is speaking with your server, the authentication mechanism is this private key and public key. Yeah. When this changes, everything changes. All right. So probably if you have downloaded a new starter kit, there will not be any difference, but this PEM file might have a different content because that is a new private key, right? So don't download this keys starter kits again and again, right? Am I clear on this? So downloading a starter kit will ruin our stuff. So in that case, what you need to do is you need to come and copy your, change this file. That's it. Start downloading a starter kit will have a new key pair. Okay. So am I clear? So here authentication is not password based, right? And now let me speak about, I am speaking, workstation is speaking to the server and node is also speaking to the server. But how? Which port? Right? There are many ports which Chef server uses, but for external communication, what happens is this Chef server, which we have, is a Ruby on Rails application. It has many components. We'll go into that, but we are communicating to the API layer of it, which is exposed over HTTPS. And for HTTPS, the default port is, so all of our communications are happening on 443. Yeah. So agent or workstation speaks to the server on 443. But Chef server doesn't mean that it requires only 443, right? 80 is also, you can use 80, but 80 will be redirected to 443. But in the Chef server, there are many components. It's not one huge component. There are many other components. If you want to individually speak to those components, then we need to worry about the other ports. But for normal communication, which we do in day-to-day lives of our as a Chef DevOps engineer, we will be working only on 443 port. Am I clear on this? Yeah. Okay. So Chef server is nothing but a Ruby on Rails application which is running on a Linux machine. Yeah. Good. Okay. I didn't got here. I'm not able to install Chef DK on my Windows 10 laptop. There is an issue, sir. Let us see why it is not happening. Okay. So for the people who have joined, right, you will get an email with a link on how to raise the issues in during practice, right? So once you get that welcome kit, please ensure that you raise your issues over there for day-to-day normal stuff. If you are unable to install something is stuck, you have written the bootstrap, but something else is failing. I want you to raise the issues over there because tomorrow some of the other person might also have the same issue, and we might have already answered the solution. That's the reason why I want it over there, right? Okay, fine then. So shall we bootstrap one more? Yeah, and then we'll get into the developmental aspects of it. Yeah. So I'll quickly go ahead. Okay. And this time I'll be creating a different operating system. It doesn't matter, right? We'll do a bootstrap or something like bootstrap on Windows Server also. But today I'm restricted to only Linux machines, right? Okay. We have taken 16, right, in the last class. Now I'll take Red Hat. It doesn't matter. I will call it as, I think we have done launch and then okay. So now I have a machine, right? And these are the details of that machine. So basically I need to bootstrap. Bootstrap is very simple. Once you have the machine, you have to just fill in the values to the knife bootstrap command. Okay. Let us not even try to worry about it. But what is it we do? Knife bootstrap. You will give the public IP or a public DNS name of it. And are you seeing the public DNS name or IP over here? Yes. For the people who don't understand it, yesterday I've shown you. Just do knife bootstrap and you will get all the command line arguments and you have to fill in the blanks. That's it. Okay. And then what is my SSH username? Right? If you click on connect, are you seeing the username over here? So what is the username? EC2 hyphen user. All right. EC2 hyphen user. But I don't have a password. So I'll be using -i and lab.pem. I'll correct it when I am typing it on PowerShell. Then I'll give the full path. Okay. And then I have to give the sudo permissions for it because it has to do installations. All right. And then at the last, name of the node and what do you want to call the name of the node. I would prefer a private DNS name over. Okay. Why private? Why not public? Is because in AWS, whenever you restart your machine, your private IP address is not changed, but your public IP address changes every time. So that's why I want something which is fixed, not something which changes every time. That's the reason why I'm using the private stuff. Done. Now, where can I run this command from? Anywhere? Can I run it from anywhere or do I need to be at a specific location? You have to be somewhere inside the chef repo because your knife command needs to know where your server is. Right? Anywhere inside this is fine, but you should be inside the chef repo. Right? And then over here, I'll change this to that's it. Anything beyond it? No, right? This is called as manual bootstrapping, right? Come on, man. Okay, let it do its job. Let me see what it is. I am not able to see in Chef server when I execute knife bootstrap. I am getting an error. It is succeeded or failure that I am unable to connect. How can it be a success if you are unable to do it? It is definitely a failure. All right. Okay. Yeah, even if you fail, you might see an entry over there, but that entry doesn't match. Yeah. So it is success only when Chef says that it is success over here. Am I clear on this? You should see something like this, saying that I have logged in into that, I have installed some stuff and all of that. Right? So we have bootstrapped 2 nodes from yesterday, right? So let us see how the other side of the world looks like. We have looked just only at the workstation side. Let us look at the node side of the things. What is there on that machine and what happens, right? Okay. So shall we log in into one of the node? Yes. Let me log in into this itself. Okay. Okay. Whenever you install or whenever you do bootstrap, you will get one executable. All right. Are you seeing this? Remember that I said that every half an hour Chef server will be communicated from Chef node, right? And that communication happens because this command will be called. For every half an hour, this command will be called. It will go and speak with the server, and server will tell what is that it has to do. But as of now, server is trying to tell that you don't have anything. You don't have anything to be done. So am I clear on this? So bootstrapping is nothing but this stuff. All right. So for example, if you want to say where is it installed, this is what it has done. You can get into that opt chef folder and you will be seeing whatever has been installed on that machine. All right. Similarly, user bin folder is a symlink of that. All right. So whenever we do bootstrapping, this is what gets installed. And for whatever time which we have said, right? By default, I said for every half an hour, it will speak with that server, right? And that is called as convergence. Node speaking with server is called as convergence. All right. So I didn't want to throw too much of terminologies in all the days, but slowly, because in interviews you might get these kind of questions, so it is better that we know the names of it. So what is convergence is? Convergence is nothing but a period when your node is communicating with. So the default convergence is 30 minutes. All right. So till now I have been defining it as the time for which when node speaks with server, but from now on I'll be calling it as convergence. Right? Yeah. And you can change this convergence, and there are many better ways to deal with that. Am I clear on this? Right. So if you want, you can log in into your machine and execute the same stuff. Now we have everything in place now. Yes. As of now, I have a hosted Chef server, a workstation, and then I have 2 nodes which can speak with. So, right? Good. But what is left is what is that I need to do in Chef? All right. So yesterday I've said that in Chef we write something called as cookbooks. In cookbooks we write something called as recipes. That's the whole story. That's what you have to start working on. All right. So shall we start writing that? Yes. So we'll write a cookbook. I'll write a very simple cookbook. I'll not even write a complicated one. Okay. We will define everything over there. And then what I'll do is I'll try to upload a cookbook and I'll try to run it on one of my node. Sensible? Yes. In that process, we'll learn some terminologies around. Okay. So let me quickly see if there is some question. Can we do it from PowerShell? What are we doing from Git Bash? From Git Bash, I'm manually checking. I'm logging in into the Linux machine and checking what is happening. Okay. So don't be confused with terminals. Throughout this course, whenever I'm using Git Bash, I mean that I'm using some sort of Linux communication. All right? Yeah. Okay then. So I want to start cookbooks. There is already a folder called as cookbooks, and there is some dummy cookbook which they have already written it. Now I want to create a cookbook. There are many ways to do that. First thing is I go to the internet and I try to download the stuff. But okay, chef cookbook is nothing but a folder, right, with certain files and folder structure in that. Okay, so there are many ways you can create those folder structures manually, right? But there is a better way to deal with that. Okay, so shall we do that better way? Let me get into cd cookbooks and let me generate or try to do my first cookbook, which I will call it as chef. Okay, for everything which I want, I'll try to use this generate command. Okay, generate, and then I'll not do anything. Let us see what are the different things which I can generate. Chef generate is a command for us for generating almost everything which we are going to do on the developmental side of things. Right. Come on. Why is it taking this much time? It should not. Yeah. So you can generate multiple things over here. Okay. But what is it I'm interested in right now? So what will my command be? Chef generate cookbook. All right. So chef generate cookbook. Good. And now, how can I generate this? What are the command line options? Just give enter. It will tell you what are the options. Right. Okay. So what is it trying to tell? Chef generate cookbook. Give me the name of cookbook, and you have all of your options over here. Let us not worry about options. This is our first cookbook. So what I'll do is chef generate cookbook, and then let me call it as lab hello world, something like this. Any name which makes sense to you. So name of my cookbook is lab hello world. So cookbook generation is nothing but generating a folder with certain files in it. And then we'll examine the structure. What are the different things that are present in this cookbook? Pardon me? Ruby environment launch out on it. It's okay. Are you seeing folder created called as lab hello world? Yeah. And now in this you have certain files. Okay. We have files called as forget about the dot files, they are hidden. Okay. We have recipes, spec, and test. All right. Recipes is our playground at least. Now whenever you want to work on cookbooks, right, so you need to have this structure. You need to have this structure. We write all of this and we upload this cookbook to the server. All right, so good. Now let me get into see what is there in the recipes. In recipes there is a file called as default.rb. Chef is actually written completely on Ruby, right? So that's why the files which you see over here are Ruby files. There you can write Ruby code. There you can write the complete Ruby code. But Chef has its own DSL. That's what we use, right? If you want to go one level deeper, you can do Ruby programming also here, right? But for us, we are not worried about that. Let us start with something which is very simple, right? So cookbook has recipes. Yeah. Now let me try to open it. I'll open this folder in Visual Studio Code. We have installed Visual Studio Code, right? Yes. And now get into this fourth or the last one, which is called as extensions. Over here, try to search for extension which is called as, are you seeing extension over here? Install this stuff. If you install this, what will help is Visual Studio Code will help you to write Chef, right? Otherwise, you have to use Visual Studio Code much like a notepad. Okay. And now if you have any other extensions like what I am having over here, either disable it or uninstall it. We don't need this at this moment. Fine. And I do reload. Okay. What is happening, man? Today everything is nothing is working today. Everything is slow. Ah, why the hell we have these many chromes? One minute, let me kill all of that nonsense. Wonderful. Good. So install that extension, and if you see, this is the only extension which we have. And now once you have this extension, it is very easy to work on Chef. Even if you don't have that extension, it is easy, but this will help you. This will save time, right? For example, I'll just show you what that extension does. Let us assume that in Chef you are writing something. I'll tell about what you're writing, but this is what it does. Something like this. So it becomes simple for you to work on this, right? So that's the reason I use that extension. And this is a free software. Every organization is installing it. So it is not a costly tool to worry about. Fine. Now, so the relation is I generated a cookbook. Yes, cookbook had recipes, right? And in recipes, what is that I write? And why is that I write? Let us come back to this problem. Right? So let us assume that I want to install Git. What is my aim? I want to install Git on my nodes. All right. So let it be any configuration management system. The ground rule how it works is you should know manually how to do that. Yeah. So if I want to say that I have two operating systems, I have Red Hat 7 and I have Ubuntu. If you Google it saying that installing Git on Ubuntu 64, you will get some steps, right? Yeah. Without searching for Google, I'm writing those steps. So in Ubuntu world, you'll be doing apt-get install. In the Red Hat world, you will be saying yum install. And now I want to achieve the same thing without doing this execution from Chef. Am I clear on this? So this is what I am trying to achieve. Now, whenever I'm trying to achieve that, what Chef says is you need to write a recipe. You need to write a recipe. But whenever you create a cookbook, I will give you my default recipe, which is already present, which is called as default.rb. So in recipes, I have my default recipe, which is default.rb. You can either use this or create a new recipe. But this is our first cookbook. I am not worried about creating some others. Good, I have that file. Now what? Basically in Chef, we create cookbooks, we write recipes, and within the recipes there is a important stuff which is very much important because it does actual work, right? The actual work in Chef is done by something called as resources. The actual work is done by something called as resources. So the way resource works is, or the way resource does is, resource is nothing but an activity, right? So for example, I want to do apt-get is an activity, right? So I might find something in resource which can do this activity, right? I want to create a file activity, so I might find some resource over there. So basically the overall idea is try to get the manual steps and then try to find resources. Chef has certain set of resources which we can use to do the automation. For the people who already know Ansible, we were searching for modules there, right? Here we search for something called as resources, and for writing this resource there is a special syntax, right? So the syntax is, every resource will have type, right? And then you can give a name to your resource. This is the name which you are giving. Okay, I'll write it as my name so that we are clear on this. Okay, let me scroll it onto the top so that it is visible to everyone. My name, do, and then you would have some properties, and at the last you would have something called as action, and then end. Okay, hypothetically let us assume that there is a resource called as file. Okay, so I'll have a resource type called as file. I'm just writing, I'm not even gone into the Chef syntax. The name which you want to give it, I want to give it a name called as my file, any name which you want, right? And I'll write it as do. And then properties in the file, what is the important property? Path. Where do you want to create that file? So I would say that var temp 1.txt, and then you might have one more property, something like content. You are creating a file, but what is the content over there? Something like, okay, you have given me all of this, but what is that you want, right? I would say that I want action to be present. Are you getting the whole idea? So you write a resource will have some name, and then you will write that in a syntax called as do, and then you will have some parameters or properties or arguments, whatever you want, you call it, and then we will have an important factor which is called as action. Action will tell what has to be done. So for example, if I want the file to be deleted, I might write something like action is I don't want that file, so that's why I'm trying to tell that the state which I'm looking out for is I want file to be absent. I will not tell use rm, use rf. Are you seeing anything like that? Right? So resources are an activity statements which are already written by Chef. So what we do is we try to find out the manual steps, and then we need to convert them into equal resources, right? So now let me go on Google for it, right? So I'll use Edgeman. Google is killing up too much of me. Okay, so okay, Chef resources. The properties in Chef are traditionally called as attributes. For every resource, you will have attributes, right? And then you would have action. Am I clear? So type. So what is that we need to find now? We need to find what is the resource which can do installation. What is the resource which can do installation? All right. So for example, if you want to get into that, you can get into all of that stuff, but let us just look at this stuff. All right. So you would have type, name, right? You would have some attributes, and then you would basically have some sort of action. Good. Now let me go back and go into this second stuff, which is resources reference. Okay, fine. And basically you will have whole set of resources, right? There are many resources in Chef, right? So now I want to do sudo apt-get update. Are you seeing anything over here? apt_update resource. Let me click on this. So what is the type? Type is apt_update, and then you write a resource, and then it is trying to tell that you have one attribute over here where it is called as frequency, and it's trying to tell what is that frequency and what is the action. So shall I write this? Yeah. So basically I'll be writing something like apt_update. Are you seeing? Visual Studio Code is helping me out. So what is the name which you want to call it? I'll say update packages. Okay. Ignore failure, I'm not interested. And action is update. Now if you come over here, he will try to tell you that action, I have three possible values. The first action is nothing. In this case, I'll not do anything. The second action is periodic. If you tell me the time, I'll try to update this apt_update automatically for you in this whatever periodic time which you have set. The third one is update. Update is I'm not worried, I'll do the update right now. Am I clear on this? Yeah? Okay. Now, if you see the frequency, if you set the frequency and you can give the time, right? So it will do apt_update automatically. For example, if I want to do sudo apt-get update for every half an hour, I'll just do 30 into 60, which will come to approximately 1800 now. So I'll give the value of 1800 over there, so that basically it will update the stuff. Okay, because the frequency takes the parameters in seconds. For 30 minutes, I will have 1800 seconds. So there is no need for me to do apt-get update every time. It will do for half an hour. But that is not a good idea to do that, right? So did this activity, and now let me go over the previous page over there. Okay. Now if you go down, there are many resources. If you see, these are all the whole set of resources, right? I need a resource to do the installation, all right? And that resource is called as, I'm just naming that resource. Let me search in Bing itself. Okay, Chef resource, and the resource which I want to use is package. Okay. Now the best part of the package is there is something like, just like how we have written apt_update, I have something called as apt_package and yum_package also. All right, but apt_package is specifically designed for Ubuntu machines, and yum_package is designed for Red Hat. But if I write package, if I write something like package, if I am running that on a Red Hat machine, it will be converted into yum_package. If I am running it on a Ubuntu machine, it will be converted into apt_package. So what do you think is a better option? Using package, because it is internally doing the conversion. Otherwise, I have to basically write different scripts for it. So package, and now let us look at what is the stuff which he tries to tell about a package. Every time refer the syntax. Now he's trying to tell that package name, and I have the following attributes and I have the following actions. right? So there is an attribute called as package underscore name which you have to pass, and then the package name for us is git. Yes, and now he see what he tries to tell. If you don't give this value, I will default to the name. And what is the name? Where do you enter the name over here? So for me, if I am writing something like this, package git action install, okay, there is no need for me to again write something like package underscore name is git, because that is what it is automatically doing. Am I clear on that? So that is what this documentation states, right? And I would recommend you to refer this documentation for every resource which you write. Okay, now I will not write this. Was it a difficult stuff? What is it we have done? Sudo apt-get update and install git. So in the action, let us see what are the action values that are allowed. Where is action? Actions. You can do something like install, then nothing, purge, reconfigure, remove, upgrade. So what is it we want to do right now? So that's where my actions value is. Am I clear on this? Right? So for writing any resource, did you understand the syntax? This is resource type. This is the name of the resource which you are calling. And then you are setting some attributes and you are giving some action. Fine? Good. Now I want to basically run this. I want to run this on a Ubuntu machine, because this might not run on a Red Hat machine. If I want to run this on a Red Hat machine, this is a problem. It will fail. Yeah, but let us correct that. It's okay. But as of now, I'll be running this on a Ubuntu machine. Then how do I do that? So where is my cookbook currently? In my local machine, in my workstation. First thing what I have to do is I have to upload this cookbook to the right. So how can I do that? So get into your cookbooks folder, cd, and what is my cookbook? Yeah, hello world, and then execute a very simple command which is books upload. So what is this books? I'll not get into it today. Think of works for today as something which can upload your cookbooks, right? And before you do this upload, I would recommend you to do something called as works. Why? It will take 2 days for me to explain that, because we need to know a bit more on writing cookbooks, right? For today, I'm asking you to remember only 2 things, right? Which has no logic or which has no understanding for you, which is Burks install and Burks upload, right? Am I clear on this? And then the next stuff is Burks upload. There is one more way to upload cookbook. You can use knife also, right? What is it saying? Uploaded the lab hello world cookbook to your server. So shall we see whether it is present or not? Yeah, I'll be using UI, but slowly let us move to our command line. So manage.chef.io. Wonderful. So I'm in Qt class, yes, organization, and let me get into something called as policy. In policy, am I saying, are you seeing cookbooks called as lab underscore hello world? Yes, you can also see the content over here. Click on content, and what is that we have written? We have written this in recipes, right? Are you seeing the stuff whatever we have written it over here? Yes. So you have uploaded the cookbook. Now there is one stuff over here. So assuming this circle is your cookbook, you have written a cookbook and then you have uploaded the cookbook onto the shelf. Okay. The component of the chef server which is storing your cookbooks is called as bookshelf. The component of the chef server which is holding your books or which is storing your books, right? It is a database, but that component is called as bookshelf. Now what we want to do is, I have it over here, but I want to apply it onto my node. How do I do that? Right? So for that, what chef says is, for every machine, for every node which you have, I'll be maintaining a list. I'll be maintaining a list, and that list is something which I call as run list. Every node in your chef will have a list which is called as run list. To that run list, add the recipes which you want to run, and I'll ensure that they are run. Am I clear? So we are having some sort of a list and we need to add that stuff to the list. So how can I do that? Today let us do it easily. Okay. So what will I do is, let me go on over here. Let me go into the nodes. Okay. And I'll take this node. Yeah. Scroll down. And are you seeing something called as run list? And then say that I want to edit the run list. Run list, in run list, you need to tell what are the recipes which you can run on this. And what is that you are seeing? You are seeing only one recipe. So there is no confusion at all. Just drag from available recipes to the current run list. Save the run list. Okay. Now, shall we try logging in into this machine and executing the stuff? Yeah. One thing is I have to wait for half an hour. All right. But that doesn't make sense to me. So let us basically log in into that machine. Okay. At least for this, I have to launch Chrome. Because I need a public IP address of that server, right? Yeah. So I'm logging in into my node 1. Yes. This is the command. So to log in into that machine, I'll be using git bash because I need a Linux based login. Okay. So what is the command that runs during convergence? We have tried it after we have bootstrapped the chef in Red Hat Linux. I am not waiting for convergence, but I am manually doing that stuff. Right? This is not what you do in your companies, but while learning, you don't want to wait for half an hour of time for it to happen. So let me just click on this. Try to read that whatever it is trying to tell. It is trying to tell that, yeah, you have something in your run list, which is, and then I am trying to execute your actions. The first action which you have asked is apt underscore update. I am doing that. Okay. And then you asked me to install git. I have done that. Now let me execute git hyphen hyphen. Am I seeing git in this machine? Yes. Let us assume that it is, I want to run this one more time. Remember, I have said that, right? All the reason why we go for chef or Ansible is we want idempotency. There should be no change in result. Is there anything that is happening? It's the same thing. Nothing changes because it is maintaining state. Okay. So what is that we have done now? We have created a This is a workflow basically. I'm trying to draw a workflow. Create a cookbook, right? And then add resources to your recipe. Upload cookbook. Fourth one is change run list of your node to add recipe. Okay. Actually here wait for convergence is the right thing, right? Because we are impatient, you can log in into that machine and then execute the simple command which is sudo chef-client, which will do the convergence for you, right? So this is what we have done. And now one last statement which I want to make is, for you to add your resources to your cookbook, you need to be good at manual steps. I'm not saying good at Linux. I'm saying whatever you are trying to do, you should know how to do it manually. Tomorrow, let us assume that from Chef you are trying to install some server. The first thing is not Chef. The first thing is you should know how to do that activities manually from command line. Okay. So what we will do is, we will take this learning, the basic learning, and we'll try to write some more cookbooks in our next class. Right? So did we understand the basic workflow? What is that we do in Chef now? In Chef, we create a cookbook, we write some recipes, and in recipes there is something called as resource. Right? Even if you didn't understood what is the resource, that's fine for me, because we are going to dive deeper into the resources tomorrow. Right? Chef, we create a cookbook, we will have recipes. In recipes I'll have resources. I'll finish my work, I upload cookbook to the server, I change the run list, and I just wait for the stuff to be executed. Simple. This is a basic workflow. Yeah. Okay. Now let me look at questions. Any questions you have in the classroom also you can ask, but let me try to see what it is. Do we need to upload the recipe on workstation and nodes as well? We are not, see where is that we are uploading from? Workstation. And if you remember this architectural diagram, what will workstation speak to? Only Chef server, right? Server to nodes is server's headache, not yours, right? So uploading can happen only on server, and in Chef always everything happens only on server, not on any other area, because we are trying to upload everything. See, from workstation my direction is only this. Oh, sorry. From workstation the only thing which I'll be able to do is I'll be able to communicate to the server. Nodes, what will they will be able to do is they will be able to communicate with the. So for everything they have to refer to the server. So whenever we are uploading or changing anything, we will always do it on the server, not on any other. I said right, Bootstrap is the only case where we directly speak with the nodes. In no other case, I'm worried about nodes. Let Chef server do it on itself. That's the whole idea. Okay. How server shows node list? Because we have established the path from workstation to the node. I'm not sure whether you have followed the yesterday's class, but I'm not getting into that. Do we need to upload the recipe on? I think I've said that. What is source and destination in SP command? What is SP command, by the way? SCP. Okay. I thought what is SP? Well, okay. Source is from where you are trying to upload. Destination is to where you are trying to upload. That's it. Okay. Workstation communicates with nodes or only server. It speaks only with server. The only one exclusion to that is Bootstrap. Only during Bootstrap we directly speak with node. In no other case in Chef's life cycle, a workstation directly communicates with the node. No. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other stuff over here? Yes. Does nodes require static IP? No. No. But actually, if you don't have a static IP address, what would happen is your communication mechanism will ruin, right? Because it will remember based out of that IP and this stuff combination. So at least you need some sort of. Yes. Yes. Bootstrap again is not required, but you need to ensure that Generally, see, what is the cases where you don't have a static IP? On production servers. That's what we are doing it for, right? Lab. In lab, you don't require all of this mess. We have a better way of dealing with this. Very soon, we'll be learning something called as kitchen, where you don't need this server to learn something. We'll be doing it on our local machines itself. So this is a workflow. Then we'll get into our dev model. Right? Yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, we'll be working on something called as kitchen. Then we'll not have this issue. Any other questions? No? Wonderful. So that's what I think I have. Scripting is used in Chef. Did the package look like a script to you? Is script like even అనిపించిందా? Script can be used. You can write whole Ruby over here. But for 90% of the cases, what we do in Chef, you don't need all of that. You will be writing something like this, right? Around that, you might be writing some conditional statements, something like if, for each, all of that. Nothing beyond that, all right? But if you want to build something like apt_update on your own, then you need to know the scripting aspects of it. But if you want to use Chef, I don't think so you require any coding skills, right? Why Chef server has to be on Linux? Because that's what they are supporting, right? It has started with, see, the whole DevOps, if you take majority of the tools, they have started only with Linux in mind. Then they are expanding their horizons onto the other operating systems. So that's the majority of the case. Even if you go to the Puppet, same story. Ansible, same story. That's how the things work. Yeah. Okay then. So we'll meet again tomorrow to go one level deeper into what we have tried, right? But today what I want you to understand is, I want all of you guys to know the workflow. What is that we are doing in Chef? I'm not worried about how you are you doing it. How can I write a resource? How can I write a recipe? I'm not worried about all of that. I'm worried about the steps. Step is to create a cookbook, recipe, and then we write resources. We upload the cookbook. We might change the run list, and then we wait for convergence. This is something which I want all of you guys to be known about. If there is any issue, we'll start with that again, and then we will dive deeper into how do I write that, what will be my dev environments, because there was one valid question saying that if I am working on a lab, I might not have the same address, IP address again and again. So how do I deal with all of that stuff? So that's a journey which will carry forward, right? Okay guys, so that's what I have. Does this code in Visual Studio Code is cookbook directly linked with? This is cookbook, right? I have opened Visual Studio Code in cookbook, all right? And Visual Studio Code is nothing but a text editor. It is as good as Notepad, but it has some intelligence. That's it. Yeah. Okay then, we'll meet again tomorrow to discuss the rest of the aspects. But please do the activity, and if you have any issues, I want to start with that issues, and then we'll go to the stuff, all right? Otherwise, Sarle Chef elago poyindi kada, Jenkins nundi modelu pedtam DevOps. So otherwise you will have this mindset of saying that, okay, anyway Chef is difficult, man. My friend said Jenkins is simple. All right. So let me just listen, not really worry about it. Anyway, in couple of weeks we'll start Jenkins. Let me be very serious from then. Then when we start Jenkins, it will postpone to the next 2 weeks. Finally, Sankranti will arrive. We will have 3 or 4 movies. Complete DevOps is gone. All right. So please don't get into that. Don't procrastinate. Do it immediately. Yeah. Thanks.